Kane, it's 1-0. We're fucking down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened as I said it would. People will be. Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, and good evening and welcome back to the Big Match Preview Live with myself and, of course, everyone's favourite Italian. It is Andrea Russo. How are you, my man? Are you doing well?
Yeah, well, you're doing well too.
Yeah, I am, mate. I'm a little bit tired, I can't lie. I've had a day full of admin and shopping and just getting things, it's just been a long day.
Though. Great painting, great painting.
Oh, I know, right? It's really cool.
Really cool, all the Reeve lads, really man, sounds like Rocco upcoming book,
Yeah, exactly, big up to everyone in the chat. Please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Get your comments in. We'll answer as many as we can. Make sure they're decent, though, yeah? You only get picked if they're decent. Only joking. And, of course, hit the notification bell because tomorrow Leeds United take on Norwich at home in what is going to be a good game of football. Two good sides. Norwich are a good side. Yes, they've not had a great time of it early parts of the season. There was talk of Wagner potentially getting the sack, and now he's had a massive turnaround and started off 2024 pretty well, all told. Andrea, he's making a good fist of it now. They've had some good results of late. I can't lie. Obviously, they drew against Southampton. They beat West Brom the other night as well. And outside of that, there was another result in there, which I did make some notes before we came on. They beat Hull City, which again, I mean, to be fair, though, Hull City had hit a rock, but they're still a team that will be up there fighting for the top six. Side. Yeah, good side. They are a good side. Remember,
at the start of the season, I said they could have been the surprise, in the playoffs.
You called it. Yeah.
I think and then I think similar to Norwich, actually.
Yeah, they had a shocking start, and then we were winding you up. But you normally Andrea doesn't miss, does he? Andrea doesn't miss.
No, I miss it. Really. I miss many times.
Now and again. But look, this is a massive game, Andrea, because for me, I've got my eyes set on now on top two by February the 2nd, because obviously we play Norwich and then we play Bristol City. If we win this game, it's cut the gap to Ipswich just down to 2 points, which is nothing. And I know they'll have a game in hand, etc. But it's about having points on the board as opposed to games in hand. But how are you feeling about this one? I'm very nervous about it, bro, because I think Norwich, like I say, good team.
Yeah, I think I'm feeling like all the other games against them, because it has become sort of a classic against them recently, you can define Leeds versus Norwich like the turnaround game every time those two teams play, Recently in the Premier League, it turned around and made us stay up. I think that 2-1 victory with Rafinha and passing the ball together. Back for scoring after the misplaced goal kick by Fraser Foster was massive in the promotion season. Yeah. And I think when we were trying to, keep our form in the first season under Bielsa when they came to Elland Road and won 3-1, I think it was a huge blow back then. So it has become a sort of a classic, recently. And I think there's also there's the nervousness, but it's a positive nervousness because I think that we now know that our team is capable of doing certain performances. Of course, we're still struggling sometimes to be more clinical, but we start to indicate more and more and more now. I think against Preston was a very good performance. I've read also things saying that it wasn't, but honestly, it would have been mental if we didn't win that one against Preston, honestly, because we dominated the game from start to finish. Absolutely, Jay.
We created a lot as well, right? We created a lot.
The balls too with Rotter. Try at that chip shot by Dan James, very close to score. Multiple chances, I think we might pair better against Norwich because Norwich are similar to us in terms of how they want to play football. I think Farke philosophy is very similar to Wagner's. In the end, Wagner is American in terms of nationality, but of course he's also German, double nationality. So there are a lot of similarities, and I might see why they went for Wagner after all those managers, in the middle between, especially Dean Smith, all the managers, in the middle between the sacking of Farke and, of course, Wagner, Dean Smith. Because Wagner on paper plays a similar style of football to Farke, and we will see probably we'll talk about the players later, but if you look at every player, our players in the starting 11, there's a similar player in Norwich's position, or it's very similar in the way they play. So nervous, I think we're up to for a very entertaining game of football. I think we might play pretty well against them, especially if we try not to be passive but active like we were in the second half at Carroll Road, because in the first half we've seen that if we are passive, Norwich can become Leeds, basically, in terms of they can become they can emulate what we do, because they are with similar traits and skills. I think good side, absolutely.
Yeah, I can see there's a lot of people in the chat mentioning Byram. I don't even think Byram will start, folks. Regardless of what you've seen, heard, what. I think Firpo keeps his place. I don't think he'll drop him for this game, regardless of the opposition, because Firpo's played well. So we'll wait and see, though, right? I think it'll be an unchanged lineup.
Me too.
It's not about who's up against. It's about what Leeds United are going to do in the game, and because ultimately we are one of the teams in this division. Norwich have had a good upturn in form. They're a decent side. They have some very good players, as you said, very similar setups and players and personnel. But Leeds United have not tasted defeat at home yet. Daniel Farke has not tasted defeat at Ellen Road. And someone mentioned it earlier on Wednesday night under the lights. The crowd will be for us. There's a chance for people, to get the atmosphere up, which I feel it will be for this game, because there is not so much needle, but a little bit of history in recent times with Norwich in terms of promotions, etc. But look, we've won 11 and drawn 4. The amount of them draws, a few of them would have come in August, I believe, and then in September, I think against Sheff Wednesday. But outside of that, it's been pretty plain sailing. 3 league wins on the spin. In total in 2024, we've scored 11, conceded 1 goal. We should be confident. Again, don't let this confidence spill over into arrogance, because, like I say, Norwich are a good side, but I think we have every right to be confident. And I think there's a chance that we make it 4 league wins on the spin, mate. For me, I don't know. I know you said it's going to be tight. I feel it's going to be tight. But do you think that we'll still win the game?
Yeah, I think we'll win. But I want to stay humble, because I really respect.
I struggle to. I can't lie. I struggle to.
No, and they struggle too, I think, because if you see some, I've seen also today, I want to see some predictions, some previews on their side, and I think we're in 2 similar minds, state of minds, because they're arriving after a good win against West Brom, so they're very confident to come to arrive at Ellen Road and get a spoiler party, in terms of the still unbeaten at home. They have this motivation too, especially playing against their an old manager, like Farke, is part of their history.
Do you know what I would say to that, though? Because there has been a lot of confidence from the Norwich side, and that's totally fine. But they've had two victories in 30 years. So they've had two victories since 1995 at Ellen Road. So I think it's misplaced confidence, if you ask me, Andrea. But go on, I'll let you carry on.
No. The only thing is that I think the only difference between us and them is that, of course, we struggle with the away form, and they did too, because they lost. They conceded 6 goals at Plymouth, for example. The only problem is that they had a very, very bad run at home at one point during the season, and that's different with us. Even when we were doing wrong steps, away, we still got the points and didn't lose at home. So Ellen Road has become, and he is still, our fortress this season. And during tough times when we were struggling to keep points away from home, we had Ellen Road, never drop a point there in terms of 0 points. I mean, because of course there were some bad draws that are the reasons why we are in third, fourth place now in the playoffs. Because if you look in retrospective now at August and those draws, for example, against Sheffield Wednesday, Cardiff, different season. It was like confusion, chaos, you still will see that transitional period between the change of ownership and the change of the guard, because there was still, after Cardiff, there was Tyler Adams talking with Archie Gray in the middle of the pitch just to describe the situation back then. It feels like a different time now if you think again at that one. If you see Stera scoring at Coleman Road, it feels like a metaverse, a different dimension. If you think about that now. But now we are steering the ship towards the right waters, the clear waters, and I think we have everything tomorrow to keep sailing at Ellen Road, and we need to get the 3 points, I think, because we need to capitalize on the draw, because I think it was a positive draw. Honestly, of course, it would have been better if Ipswich lost, but I think it's still a positive result. I think Ipswich and Leicester drawing. We need to keep up with Southampton, and we need to capitalize on that, I think, because I'm not one saying Ipswich will drop off now. I changed my mind about them. I started the season. I said that I thought they wouldn't have kept this form, but they are. So credit to them. I'm the first one, if I'm wrong, to say I was wrong about them. So throughout the season, I didn't think they would have been capable. Of course, now they have some new signings like Sarmiento and Travis that changed completely the side for me now. But credit to them, because now they are rightly there, but you still need to keep the form in the second part of the season, and we'll see. It's the same for everyone, because Southampton have a great run. Leicester have dropped some points at Coventry versus Ipswich, and now Ipswich are dropping points too. So it's still very open now, and that's the fun of the Championship.
No, you're right, because like you say, like Norwich obviously went on a bad run. There was talk of him being sacked, and they're actually just 2 points off the playoffs. And if they win, obviously, because this is the only Championship game this week, and obviously we've got FA Cup. If they win tomorrow at Ellen Road, which won't be easy, they'll climb into the top 6. So that's the madness of the Championship. I don't think the top 4 will change. Whether or not that means Leeds will stay in 4th, I still think they can get 2nd, but I don't think the top 4 will change. But 5th and 6th will switch, and I think I look at Norwich, West Brom, Hull City, Middlesbrough for a time, Sunderland, these teams that will go on runs, but then they'll lose a few. It's the Championship. So, Coventry as well.
I think they're having a great second half of the season so far. So I think they will be in contention till the end. Coventry, they started pretty bad. Now they've turned their sides, their fortunes.
Yeah. Well, if you actually look in terms of form of the last 14 games, they're in 3rd behind Leeds United. There's been a lot of rhetoric that we're inconsistent, etc. But we're the last 14 games, we're 2nd behind Southampton in terms of consistency. So I do think there's a lot of shade thrown our way, and that's fine. It's because we're Leeds United. We're there to be shot at, I guess, because regardless of what anyone says, we're still the biggest team in the division for me. So we're there to be shot at. And of course, tomorrow, Norwich, it's a huge game for them. But like I said, they don't have a great record against us. 2 wins since 1995. We've won each of the last 3 head-to-head meetings too. So form is in our favour. I think the last loss may have been when they beat us 3-0, if you remember, at Ellen Road. I think that might have been the last loss. But I do think it'll be tight, mate. I do think it'll be a tight game, and I could see them scoring. The thing is, Norwich haven't kept a clean sheet in any of their last 14 away games either, which you would imagine Leeds will score. Like, we will create chances just because of the way Norwich will play as well. It's probably going to suit us down to the ground. So, as much as, I do think Norwich may come and they will cause problems and will score, I just think in order for them to win this game, they would have to score 2s and 3s, because I don't see Leeds United just scoring the one solitary goal. I don't know how you feel about that, or am I being too bullish? Do I need to temper expectations?
No. I think it can either end into. There's 2 options basically. I think it ends in a goalless draw, or it might end 3-2, 4-3. I think it can be a high-scoring game or either a goalless draw. There's no gray in the middle again. This time is either black or white. This time, either a high-scoring game or a goalless draw.
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right, Matt. They've won twice in since 1995, and one of them will have been that. Was it not 3-0? I thought it was 3-0.
No, Bamford return from injury.
Because we beat them earlier on in the season, didn't we? 3-0 at Carroll Road, and then they came to our place and beat us. I was at the game. This is the thing. My memory is so bad when it comes to stuff like this. This is why I have to do a little bit of research on stats and whatnot. But let's talk about Norwich themselves, mate. Obviously, they've got some fantastic players. One guy I do want to pick out first of all that could have a big say in the game is Josh Sargent. The reason I mention that is because he was injured for the previous game. I think they played with Idaho up top, wasn't it? Was it Adam Ida, I think?
Before West Brom, with Adam Ida. I don't know the right pronunciation, honestly. I think Ida. Before West Brom, they played with him. Then he returned because I heard Wagner saying that, of course, the good run now is also because they had they were hit by an injury crisis before. I think he said, and he was right, because in the end, when you hit by an injury crisis, and we know that pretty well when we were in the Premier League, the team changes from like this to like this. It changes completely if you don't have the right players to play in your system. We've seen that too, in certain draws or losses this season on our camp. I think Wagner was right to say that, honestly, because it changes everything. And I think Sargent is more dynamic than Ida. Ida is more like the number 9, similar to Bamford, for example. Sargent is more similar to Pukki, for example, in terms of a comparison of how he moves on the pitch, more dynamic, more versatile.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm just looking at his record since his return. I think he got one against West Brom, got one against Southampton as well in that 1-1 draw. And then obviously he hadn't played since August due to his injury. But even if you look back to August, he scored against Millwall, scored against Huddersfield. Then he gets injured, returns against Millwall, they lose that game. But then the 1st of January, they get a point against Southampton. He scores, and he scores against West Brom as well, just at the weekend. So he's a player certainly that we need to look out for, Josh Sargent. He was linked to a Leeds United a hell of a lot, and I do believe that was just because he was American. And it was like, get Josh Sargent. What do you make to go on?
No, finish, Joe. I wanted to make a very bad joke, but
go on.
Josh Sargent, the new Ryan Kent. Every time they link him with Leeds.
Napoleon Dynamite, he looks like, doesn't he? But talk to me about Josh Sargent. What do you make to him, mate?
I think he's a good, versatile player. Of course, he struggled to make an impact when they were in the Premier League and they signed him under Parker. I think he was pretty fine. He was a very good player, honestly, not pretty fine, very good player in the Bundesliga with Werder Bremen. And I think he was a good signing from them, but unfortunately for them, of course, he didn't have a straight impact, in the Premier League. I think now he's finding his feet. Also last season too, he's finally adapted to the English football, basically. So I think for the way he moves, also called up by the United States when they went to Qatar at the World Cup last winter, in winter 2022. I think he's versatile. I think he can cause us problems in terms of trying to drift in wide to make running behind, and also try to be the link-up player, trying to get towards the ball and then make a run on the other side, because I think he likes to make a run between the two centre-backs, or trying to drift to attract also one of the full-backs. Because I think if he moves and drifts wide, there's the opportunity for example, Ashley Barnes to make the central cut, because Ashley Barnes plays in the 10, but basically he's also more like a second striker than a number 10. He's
proper shit house, that guy.
Yeah, I know.
Proper shit house. Yeah. Even still now, I watched the game against Ipswich. And I was, cheering on Norwich that game, and he was a shit house in that game as well, man. He's brutal, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like what we call in Italy a mestierante. He's one of those experienced, not pirates. One of the experienced, workers, for example, in the game. He knows the old tricks in order to, he knows how to act on the pitch when the game gets tough. He knows when to throw to make his presence felt. I think he's also good in terms of passing. But of course, if you remember him at Burnley, and I'm sure you
remember when he took out Dallas. Remember when he took out Dallas that time as well? Yeah, was it Dallas? I think he smashed Dallas in the box. Yeah.
No, I was considering if it was against him or it was against McNeil, Alioski, also to when they had that.
No, that was McNeil, wasn't it?
Yeah, McNeil.
That was Dwight McNeil. Yeah. When he went like that, do you remember? He went
when he went smiling. Yeah. But I think Barnes, the difference with Pirot, for example, they are similar in certain aspects to Pirot. Also in terms of course, Pirot is taller than Barnes, and Barnes is better, I think, in making a run, try to gain depth. He is not a proper player stretching the team, I think, Barnes, but I think he's very good to make a run and cut. I think Pirot is different in that regard, but in the way they play behind the striker, they might be similar. The only problem is that Barnes, when he passes the ball, he sprints forward to make a cut and be like the proper second striker, because in the end, you have a formation of 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2, when in the end those positions are the starting positions. Players move on the pitch, and now it's better to, for example, go to see the average positions, because in the end that's the real formation, throughout the game.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk about Sarah as well. 8 assists this season.
Brilliant.
Scored against us down at Carrow Road as well. It was a hell of a goal as well that he did score. Was it Sarah? Yeah, it was Sarah, wasn't it? When he did the little jink up and found the back of the net. He's a player that I would really like at Leeds United. 8 assists so far this season. Definitely someone we need to look out for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's very similar, for example, to one of the players we were talking about during the recent days, the latest days, the final days. Sorry, find the right term finally. The final days of the summer transfer window. Matt O'Reilly. I think he's very similar to him, and we would have needed a player like him, honestly, in a squad, because we don't have one capable of creating the play, dictating the play, being a playmaker, but also an advanced playmaker, because he likes to, he's an all-round player. He basically moves everywhere. If you look also at the heat map, he's everywhere.
I've got it up. I was just going to share it now, bro. If you just look at
share it. Let's do it.
His heat map. He's like everywhere, right? Like absolutely everywhere.
Absolutely. Yeah. Likes to get forward. He's more like, an advanced playmaker too when he gets forward. So he's the real number 8/number 10, I think. Because Kenny McLean is more like their bouncer, in front of the defense.
The water carrier. The water carrier, man. That's what they call them in England, like a water carrier, you know what I mean? Yeah. Does all the other stuff. But yeah, I mean, Gabriel Sara, top player. And obviously we've got to talk about Johnny Rowe as well. Johnny Rowe's been attracting a lot of interest from Premier League clubs. I think Brentford.
Brentford.
Club that have been linked with him, and you can understand why. He's a top player. 12 goals this season. Had a very quiet game against us previously, up against Sam Byram. I don't think Byram. Let's talk about Johnny Rowe until we talk about Leeds United's lineup and how they deal with the threat of certain individuals within the Norwich side. But Johnny Rowe, 12 goals. Do you think he's a Premier League player in waiting? I mean, he's not Somerville, is he? Do you know what I mean? He's not.
No, he's not.
He's not Somerville, but he's a good player. For sure.
He's not Somerville. There's a very good player in there. I think he'll soon be in the Premier League for sure, and I can see him honestly fitting in a side like Brentford. Sorry, not Preston. Brentford. Because I think he has the traits similar to certain players. For example, Brentford have Ryan Mbeumo. For example, is similar. I think he's very sharp going forward. And also he's physically strong, so I think he can be already ready for the Premier League. But it would be smart moves for Norwich. I think Norwich will try to get to the Premier League till the end of the season, try to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if they don't, I think that it might be up like they did with Buendia, for example, and other players. Cantwell, of course, Cantwell didn't make the career we expected for him so far.
No.
Aurelio Hernandez now is back at Norwich. There's a tendency at Carroll to like play FIFA career mode and scout regions of the former wingers they had, basically. I think, but he's very good getting forward, plays good 1v1, good to running behind, good to overlap too, good to get inside, good with both feet for me. So especially he can play on either side, either on the right or on the left. Now he plays on the right, especially against West Brom. He played on the right. They play with Sainz on the left, but he can also play on the left. So I think he'll play him again on the right, because if you look at the stats, that's where he played the most this season. In order to turn inside, cut inside, and try to shoot with his left foot. And we'll need to talk about how we deal with him, because I think usually when Firpo gets forward, we stay with a 3-back line, basically, because we have Ampadu, Rodon, and Gray. If you look at the positioning, stays back more. So it's more like Ampadu, Rodon as the middle centre back, and Gray like the right centre back when we are in possession and getting forward into the half. I would like to see what Farke uses as a strategy. And let's remind that we're talking about Johnny Rowe, but Norwich will have to do the same with Willy Gnonto and Dan James.
And Somerville, you mean?
And on Gnonto. Sorry,
no, I
was thinking
about
Gnonto. Gnonto, it's a doubt. I think he hasn't recovered yet. Sorry.
I don't think he'll make the squad. But just looking at it, Rowe is in hot form. Like I say, scored against West Brom, scored against Hull City, and got an assist against Southampton. So it is there's a direct correlation, I guess, with Norwich's upturning form and Johnny Rowe's recent performances. But he hasn't just done it in the last games. He's been doing it since the start of the season, as has Sarah, and Sargent was before he was getting injured as well, to be fair. So they're a good side. There's a lot of players, obviously, that can cause us problems. But I think we're all hopeful, at least, that Leeds United will win this game. I do think it'll be tight, Andrea. I can't lie to you, but I do think we'll win. But in terms of a lineup, for me, the reason I didn't really want to cover it all that much is I don't expect Leeds United to make any changes. I think the changes will come on Saturday when we play Plymouth. Do you envisage the same lineup?
No, I don't think it'll change. I think after we had that great performance in Wales against Cardiff, and that very good performance against Preston, I think we could have won easily 3-4, 3-0. 4-0 at one shot, Preston, and they scored with that shot, and we struggled to score, hit the post, created a lot of we were in critical. I don't like to talk about expected goals because I don't really rate them, honestly, because in the end, expected goals, I disagree with Jesse Marsh. They don't make points on the table, It talked like expected goals were like getting us
Guess
points,
what happened to me earlier, by the way, bro? Guess what happened to me earlier on Twitter? So I tweeted about Leeds United, inconsistent Leeds United, right?
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so someone responded to me and went, "That's so Jesse Marsh." They're calling me Jesse Marsh. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What, me?" Because I said we're second in the form table. I don't know what I remember.
They were referring to the wrong person in the end, I think.
Yeah, I think so, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's so Jesse Marsh. Someone called me Jesse Marsh. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, go on. Carry on, mate. No changes then, you think?
No, I don't think they will make changes. What's surprised we might find, I think, will be... I won't be surprised, honestly, because I think Aida with Norwich suits this game more. Because I think we'll play Bamford, to be fair. I think they will play Ida. No, I think Sargent will play too, but as the second striker. I think he can play there too. I think they will both start, honestly, with Barnes as the option, especially also he's an experienced player, Barnes. He might want to bring him in Wagner in the second half. I think I won't be surprised if he starts Alameda up front, and Surgeon behind him, honestly. And they will try to play the ball, of course, to the wingers and try to play with the long ball, if that's the case. Because, in the end, why using another player like Barnes to be the link-up one when you have, for example, Sarah that can get forward and carry the ball between spaces? Sarah, we've seen that Carol can get forward. So I think they might want to play with a target man like Ida, try to be the link-up play, the older play, also older player, and the Surgeon making the run in behind. I think if I were Wagner, I would play like that, honestly. On our side, I don't think we will make changes, because after those 2 good performances, I think we'll stay like that. I'm a bit worried, honestly, for Ampadu tomorrow, because we played against Cardiff and Preston. There are teams that didn't press us. They sat back. I think Norwich will try to press us, and you see that Ampadu, when he, of course, Ampadu had a very good game. I'm not saying just because of one. And I'm surprised that we still need to underline this sometimes, because it seems like that if you talk about a mistake from a player, you're saying he had a bad game. I'm not saying this. And I like to underline that. When he replaced the ball, when he touched the ball badly, and almost slipped in against Preston, I think when he gets pressed, and I saw that at Spezia last season, I think he might struggle if he's pressed. He wasn't pressed in the last two games.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. You don't. I mean, I was going to say, who can you? There's no one we can really change it to, is there? Really, if we're honest, it has to be him. I think Gruyev's going to be essential as well. I think Gruyev's really come into his own. It was great to see Daniel Farke say so many positive things about him in the presser as well. I think we've settled on arguably our best 11 before we get on any, additions. Obviously, that's very harsh on Strauch, and maybe it's a bit of revisionism, but Strauch's obviously could be out for a while, so we might have to rely on this 11 at the minute. Before we come to some score predictions, mate, Colin Kerwin, big up Colin, always supporting the channel, says, love the watch along at the weekend. Everyone from Preston or even related to Preston got it. Shithouse FC, get it up your Preston, let's bash Norwich. Yeah. Well, if we do the same tomorrow, we'll give the same for Norwich. I don't know any. Oh, yeah, I could go, get it up, yeah, Delia Smith. Get it up, yeah, what's he called? Steve Coogan or Alan Partridge.
We need Luke from Orton or Better to do that, because he did it pretty well again after England, Italy.
Yes,
where are you, Monica Bellucci? Where are you, Leonardo da Vinci? I still remember this. Proper great
that.
lad, Luke.
He is. Right, let's get some score predictions. Listen, I'm gonna say we win the game 2-1. I think we win the game 2-1. I do think they'll score, and the first goal will be crucial in this game. But I just think history tells me we do well against Norwich, especially at Ellen Road. Very good games, but I think Daniel Farke will continue this undefeated. I think we could go undefeated for the rest of the season, all told. If we're being totally honest, I do. So I'm really surprised to see a lot of negative comments thinking we're going to lose this. I think, look, we haven't lost yet, and we're not going to lose tomorrow. 2-1 Leeds United. Give me your thoughts, Andrea.
3-2, I think. I think you're going to be 3-2. We'll be on our toes.
Yeah.
In injury time, in added time, but I think we'll get through this, honestly. I think we might score early, then concede the equalizer, then score 2, get 3-1, and then concede another one and almost concede the third one. I think it can be that whirlwind of a game, honestly, tomorrow. And I'm really looking forward to it because, midweek games after a long day, and also I envy a lot the people going to enroll tomorrow, because after a long day of work, they will, looking forward to during the day to I'm going to the game this evening, after a long earned day,
Yeah. No, exactly. No. And just Dominic, in response to this, let me just say they do have some fantastic players, but as do we. We've got Crescencio Somerville. We've got hot informed winger in Dan James. We've got the best number 10 in the league in Gio Rutter. Yeah. We've got Ilya Gruyev. You bet not kill the Gruyev. DJ.
Great chant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You've got Ethan Ampadu, Joe Rodon. Come on now. The only areas you could argue are weaker are fullback. You know, outside of that, I think we're very strong. Some will say goalkeeper, even Bamford. You know, Leeds fans might mock it or whatever, but we've got a renaissance from him. You know, he's been great since he's found this form. You know what I mean? So people can mock and be not asked all they like. At the end of the day, he's scoring goals. He's involved in a lot of the play. So yeah, we're going to be fine, man. Don't worry. I'd much rather Bamford than Josh Sargent or Ashley Barnes or Adam Idaho, and that's what I'll say. So don't worry about it, people. Yeah, we'll be fine. Hopefully another 3 points. Listen, if we do win, bro, I'll be so giddy because it's like, oh my god, beat Bristol. I'll be like, beat Bristol City, and we're in the top 2. Do you know what I mean? Yes, with games in hand below us, I get it, all that, but ultimately, it's a massive step. It's a massive step. Yeah, mate. Any final thoughts before we head off?
Well, I think we say almost everything apart from the fact that we are positive, you know. But I also get that, you know, with Leeds you have to expect everything. So people are going to games every time pessimistic, you know, because you don't know what to expect from Leeds. You know, we always find the most different ways and the variety of ways to, you know, create emotions in the both positive and negative emotions. You know, it's always a weird wind with Leeds, and we saw a little bit of that on Sunday, I think, with that.
Yeah, 100%. No, of course. And look, this for me now, Andrea, is the real test. And what I mean by that is we beat Ipswich 4-0. We then played West Brom and we played Preston and we lost them both. We lost it. Now we have an opportunity with 2 games before anyone else plays to really put the pressure on. And I think that there's a little bit of kidology and a little bit of mind games as to why Farke wanted that played sooner. So he could have that, I think. I genuinely believe this. So it's like, let's play there. Let's let's play on the Friday. And hopefully if we win them both, then we're in the top 2. Then the pressure's back on them, you know. So we'll wait and see. Middlesbrough have been absolutely slapped up 6-0, by the way, by Chelsea.
Yeah,
so
I was still at 4-0, so yeah.
Yeah, 6 now.
Yeah, fair play to them for making it this far, you know, in the competition. But hopefully we can make our own, because the last run we made in the cup was during a season when we got promoted. So hopefully it happens again, you know. But you know, even if we beat Plymouth and get forward, you know.
Who knows, eh? Who knows?
I hope if we get a Premier League team, you know, in order to test ourselves and see the level of this team against the Premier League side. Even if we don't progress, I want to see if we with Plymouth, us playing against the Premier League side, because I want to see us testing ourselves and proving ourselves against a Premier League opposition. Yeah.
I think it's a fair shout. Because I think, didn't Burnley get Man City last season, and everyone was like, "Oh, let's see how they do." I remember, so we'll wait and see. Right, folks, we will leave it there. There probably might be some content during the day tomorrow if any news comes out, RE transfers, but I think that's going to be next week, in all honesty, before we actually see movement. But the watch along will be on, followed by the live post-match reaction. So make sure you watch that. And I'll see you tomorrow, as will Andrea, hopefully. Peace out now, folks. Enjoy the rest of your evening.